Hi, I'm Toby Maguire. Okay. This wig was supposed to be a holiday hunk, but I've ended up in like holiday hunks emo brother who like lives in basement territory. But you know, look, I have got less than 400 subscribers. You can suspend disbelief. You get the idea. Bad Christmas movies are a seasonal favorite of mine. I absolutely love them. One of my all-time favorites is Home by Christmas with Linda Hamilton, who was in Terminator. She, in that movie, plays a recently divorced woman who ends up homeless. But rather than like asking help with her family, she gets in with her sassy black friend on this grift. The moral message of the movie is despicable. The acting is very much, the sets are lazy, but it is for these reasons, not in spite of them, that I love it. As someone who came of age in the mid to late 2000s when like ironic mustaches were a thing and social media was like just starting to help people get sick of food photography, irony and absurdity will always be part of my humor. So I think that my love of these bad Christmas movies comes from that. But I think also that it's evolved beyond irony, because I've watched Home by Christmas in particular 3 times now, all the way through, and I just don't think that I'm capable of doing anything for 4.5 hours out of irony. I think that it has to be something else. Have you heard of camp? Maybe you heard about it because of that awful Met Gala last year, and then you tried to read the Susan Sontag essay, but it was really difficult because the cultural references are really outdated and the language is inaccessibly academic. You know what, I should probably button this top button here. Make it look a little nicer. So if you're like me, you did some research, and some people say that it's exaggerated expression, and other people say it's when something is so bad that it's good, and other people say that it's just mindless fun. There we go. Still got it. Until very recently, when I started researching camp with the purpose of using the topic for some sort of video content, I've always had an aversion to campy things. When people described something as camp, that usually meant that I was either going to be bored by it or that I was going to cringe. Cringe myself into an early grave. Some examples of campy movies I was exposed to are Rock and Roll High School, starring the Ramones, and Back to the Beach with Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello, and Showgirls, which I'm embarrassed to admit, have never been able to finish. But these movies, they didn't make me laugh or they didn't even entertain me, they just seemed bad. I didn't get it, and okay, because I'm extra and pouty, I even resented the idea that I was supposed to enjoy these terrible things. Then I watched Madonna's Blonde Ambition tour performance of Cherish, and I thought to myself, okay, yes, I know what campy is, this is campy, and I still completely hate it. Being bored with something is one thing, but being bored and cringing? Why would anyone ask me to put myself through this? Why would anyone put themselves through this? Then the 2019 Met Gala happened, and it was just more eyebrow knitting than anything else, really. It was this event, I think, which made me really ask, what does camp even mean? You've probably seen me post about camp on Twitter. I'm mostly curious about it because it seems like it should be such a simple thing to explain. But if it is, then why are there so many different definitions? And why is the seminal text on the subject, Notes on Camp by Susan Sontag, so difficult to understand? And if this is all happening at once, how can anyone even say that they enjoy camp if no one can even agree on what it is? So at this point, I had gone from bored to cringing to confused to just mad. I was just mad at this point. I like when ideas are in nice little labeled boxes. This is one of the only ways that I can achieve peace, and it seems like everyone is trying to stick the concept of camp into all these little different boxes, and by God, I was gonna find the little box that it fit in, and if I couldn't, well. So after a journey of trying to find a good, easy to understand definition of camp, I finally found this video on a channel called Thunk.
A pirate impression that's so bad it's good? Hold on, I got this. Nanar, matey.
And I was excited because I immediately knew it was going to be good because of how cringy the intro was. Plus, Josh Pelton, who runs the channel, is very smart and rather cute, as you can see. Check out that channel. There's a link in the descript. But Pelton goes on to explain Sontag's essay in really succinct terms and better than anyone I had found before him. To paraphrase Pelton, to Pelton phrase, camp is a means of aesthetic appreciation. That's like bare bones what camp really is. But just to clarify, he goes on to explain that camp is a means of aesthetic appreciation which does not rely on skill or depth to make art or media enjoyable. Normally, we appreciate something because of its depth and skill. A movie worthy of an Oscar has good dialogue, a plot with just the right combination of tropes and new ideas, acting that feels authentic and captivating, characters that have depth, a score which is emotionally moving but doesn't upstage the scene, stunning cinematography, art direction, subtext, makeup, costuming. These are all ways or paths that you can take to appreciate a movie. A spectacularly good movie will have all of these. A bad movie might have one or two, but that will not be enough to sustain it as worth watching, and it will still be mediocre and forgettable. But what about a movie that is spectacularly bad? What about a movie that in every path you take to appreciate its execution of production, it is terrible? Terrible overacting, dialogue that doesn't make sense, editing that is frantic. It becomes marvelous, as in something to marvel at in wonder, and this is camp. The aesthetic appreciation of things that are spectacularly bad in an exaggerated way is camp. But look, if camp is really just bad media, I don't want anything to do with it. I do want to surround myself with the finest things in life. How else can I learn to be a great creator if I don't expose myself to only the best? The problem that we face as consumers is that spectacularly good media is very rare. So we're faced with a choice. You could only watch movies that are the best of the best, but in the end, that means you'll watch considerably fewer movies. This is because the amount of movies that are spectacularly good are rare, and also because you will be hesitant to try any movies you haven't heard of before. Your aversion to the swill of the masses will discourage exploration, and this aversion will increase with time. The more you try to shut out bad movies and media, the more adverse you will feel when exposed to them. This disappointment has the potential to embitter you about movies in general. And if you're creative, this perception of other media will affect the way you see your own creative endeavors. And if you're like me, it could even be a reflection of the way you already see yourself. 2 months ago, I was getting a routine STI screen, and while waiting in the doctor's office, I read a Tumblr post about The Incredibles. There's a link in the descript below if you want to check it out. For those of you who don't remember, and spoiler alert for a 16-year-old movie, I guess? But Syndrome, who is the story's antagonist, becomes evil when he is rejected by Mr. Incredible. Someone in the Tumblr post pointed to this backstory, stating that if Mr. Incredible was nice to Syndrome when he was just a naive guy named Buddy, he never would have become evil. And that's where things got interesting, because what began as a Tumblr user musing about a specific scene in the movie ended up as a psychological deep dive into Syndrome's motivations and character. Tumblr user Gay Jesus probably wrote, "No amount of nice was going to appease Syndrome. The second he faced any sort of rejection from Mr. Incredible, he was going to lose it and go supervillain." And then Tumblr user Bookish Actor pointed out that this is something called black and white thinking, something that maybe I struggle with quite a bit. This led me to a psychological epiphany about myself and my behavior while reading a Tumblr post in the waiting room of the Kind Clinic. Black and white thinking is where a person struggles to see emotional nuance. People are either good or bad. You're either based or toxic. If you're not a Chad, you're a cuck. My therapist was the one who told me previously that this is a pattern she noticed in my way of thinking, but for some reason, I never really understood it until this Tumblr post. Suddenly, so much about my history made sense. All of the burned bridges, all of the pedestals that I put people on, and all of the cringing. Let me describe a situation I often find myself in. I'll be doing something like gaming or doing dishes when suddenly I'm struck with a memory of myself. The memory is usually inconsequential. It has no bearing on my current life, but it involves me taking a course of action that I would not have taken today, and because I learn from my mistakes, but am still faced with having made them, the memory of them causes me to cringe so hard that I have to make a noise to distract myself from the pain. This pain and dissonance comes from the black and white thinking that I have about my reality. Even if I learn from these mistakes, the idea that I committed them must needs be indicating that I am a fundamentally bad person. This is because being both bad and good at the same time, when you think in such polarized terms, is impossible. But mistakes are inevitable in life. So does that mean that everyone who makes mistakes, and therefore every person, is fundamentally bad? Well, no. Just me, and anyone I love who disappoints me, and certain celebrities. So, you learn from these mistakes, right? And they're unavoidable in life, and shutting them out just makes it worse. So it seems like the best thing to do would be to learn how to embrace your mistakes. Yeah, it kind of seems like this current approach might not be working, dude. But how do I learn to appreciate the bad aspects of myself? How do I overcome this self-cringe? Yeah, wow, if only there was some kind of means of aesthetic appreciation that didn't rely on depth or skill, where you could practice enjoyment of things that were considered unrefined. Okay, I see where you're going with this, but I could do without the attitude. Fair enough. So from learning to appreciate camp not only in media, but also in life, we can find a kind of joy in incompetence. Whereas the person who is obsessed only with enjoying the best films becomes disdainful of most films, a person who is capable of enjoying both the best and the absolute worst of films is therefore more capable of experiencing joy. You can watch a movie searching for joy not only in what is good, but also what is exaggerated and spectacularly bad. And it follows that in learning to appreciate camp as an aesthetic, we can learn to take joy in our own incompetence. When you blur the lines between good and bad, when you marry these two concepts, it opens up your ability to look at yourself with a more lighthearted perspective. You know Brittany Broski, Kombucha Girl? She made that video that made her famous where she's trying the kombucha, and now it's become like just a JPEG meme where you have this reaction of like disgust, and then, wait a second. So what I'm saying is, why don't we have the wait a second reaction to the disgust? Like, let's merge those together. I have other ideas about camp that I intend to explore in a later video, such as its relationship with queer culture and identity. But for this video, I wanted to do something more fun, and just relate it to my own personal experiences. It's the holidays. To quote Mariah Carey, let's get festive, even if that means being a little bit self-indulgent. My brother in YouTube, J-Turn, posted a photo to both his Twitter and Tumblr on December 1st with the caption, "On the first day of Cringemas, I posted my titties." And thusly, the concept of Cringemas was born. Truth be told, I'm not much of a Christmas gay. The holiday has been kind of tainted by self-proclaimed anti-consumerist Gen Xers and their influence on media during my formative childhood. I love that I get stuff, because I love stuff, But the ideology of supporting the economy to the benefit of our capitalist overlords, it doesn't thrill me. But Cringemas? A holiday founded on celebrating cringe, particularly self-cringe, during the holiday with arguably the largest amount of cringeworthy movies dedicated to its topic? I have no choice but to stand. I have no choice but to fucking stand. I have zero choice in the matter. Combining the undeniable camp of Christmas with my own relationship with cringe was, to me, a brilliant idea, especially because these topics have been at the forefront of my mind lately as I consider camp and its larger implications on my life. But what is Cringemas? Well, let me tell you. Just like any holiday, I feel like it's what you make of it. But here are some foundational ideas about what I feel Cringemas could be and maybe should be. Cringemas is an opportunity to reflect on how we've grown throughout the year and our lives. A communal effort to encourage laughing at our own and each other's mistakes. A time to disarm pretentious interpretations of aesthetic, giving way to the joy of that which is unrefined. Cringemas is not a time to laugh at others from a position of superiority, nor is it an excuse to castigate yourself for your own mistakes. The idea is to do away with black and white thinking about yourself and others. Let's celebrate the mistakes we've made this year, and let's celebrate what we've learned from them. It may be painful at times, it may be uncomfortable, but maybe it could help us get over that feeling of aversion we have to these very necessary mistakes that we've made. These mistakes helped bring us to this point. Without them, we would never have learned. We would never have grown. Okay. So, in the spirit of Cringemas, I am going now to react to a project that I was part of about 10 years ago, wherein I was the production assistant for a reality television show and ended up in front of the camera. It's something that I've been embarrassed about, and actually I haven't watched it in about 10 years because I've been so embarrassed. But it's Cringemas, so we're gonna do it. It's set in Dallas. I think the year, it must have been 2011 because it was right before I moved to Chicago. And it was an idea for a travel, it was bear themed. It's bear themed. Yeah. I was on the pilot of a bear themed reality TV show. And now I'm about to watch that pilot and film my reaction for the first time in 10 years. So I decided to reach out to my therapist about approaching self-cringe in a healthy way, and here are some tips that she offered me. Don't focus on your actions alone, but try to contextualize them into the bigger picture. Think about how old you were. Think about what you were going through. Where were you in your life? And why were you acting in this way? Empathize with how you were feeling at the time you made these decisions. How were you viewing the world around you? What were your motivations? Understand that part of being human is doing things and then learning from them. And sometimes you even do things for the sole purpose of learning from them. And with that, on with the show.
On this episode of Bear It All, we head down to Dallas to check out the Texas Bear Roundup. So join me, Matthew Moriarty, and my friends as we bear it all.
Okay, yeah. Alright, I'm kind of having a panic attack right now. I haven't watched this. I haven't watched this in 10 years. I've been... Okay, it's Cringemas. Oh, hey, look, this is a good time. This is a very good time. I'm gonna pause this, and I'm going to have these little tips here. Don't focus on just my actions. Think about how old I was, what I was going through, where I was in my life. So, 10 years ago, so I was like 22. I was 22. I was pretty young. Why was I acting this way? Well, you know, I had a friend who was trying to get his reality TV show project off the ground, and I really wanted to help him out, and I decided to be a part of this project. And as you'll see, there's just not a lot of energy happening on screen, and so I really wanted it to be successful, and so I wanted to bring some energy to it. Oh, and I did. Oh, I did. Okay. Regret. But no, I don't. Okay. In the spirit of Cringemas, I need to learn not to regret this, actually. I need to learn to accept that this was something that I did, and I did it actually because I was trying to be kind, and I was trying to be helpful. So that's not so bad, right? Okay. What is the quality on this? We're in HD.
So we're walking into the hotel. I don't even know what to think. I've never been to TBRU. This is my
Matthew
first
Moriarty
run.
is very handsome.
I've heard stories. I'm looking forward to this event. And I'm not gonna lie, it's the man that I love. This being my first bear run, I decided to go to the bear run with DJ Barney Philly.
Okay, here we go.
TBRU?
No, just 1 second. I live here in Dallas. Is this your first TBRU?
Yes.
Yeah?
This is my first gay event aside from
Remember that
Club
tank top?
Cup.
Whoa,
Seriously,
my posture
what
is
kind of
so
guys do you like?
bad.
I like, you know what? And nothing to
I'm so
anybody.
hunched
Everybody
over.
is beautiful.
I have a lot of hair,
But I like the
though.
hard Buddha bellies.
Yeah.
Rub on for good luck. Like this right here.
I'm wearing a mic.
I got one myself. And if somebody calls me a chaser this weekend, I'll correct them.
You're pretty stocky. I would label you cub if I were you.
But I just gained 30 pounds in the last 2 months.
I just lost 20 pounds,
But
actually.
before then, I
Oh,
was
that's right.
But I'm just saying, like,
I had food poisoning
the
really
outer is
bad.
the skinny guy that's hairy, that if you put on weight, you could fall into the bear cub.
Yeah.
It's just a prereq. I just think chipmunks are much cuter than otters. I'm sorry. So we just got here, so I figured it's time to go do shots.
That wasn't so bad. It's gonna get bad, though. I know it's gonna get
Being a
bad.
bartender, you have a keen eye. I'd order a Crown and Coke. This is not gay man's bar type drinking. Cinnamon applesauce. It's 2 parts Goldschlager, 1 part apple pucker, 1 part pineapple juice.
I'm cringing at Matthew right now.
You're the bartender. I'm just gonna let you order this.
It's like your mama packed you a lunch. How many we need? 3?
I was trying so hard to bring
pouring
energy.
in Long Island
I was
iced tea,
really
and it's
trying.
like the beer mugs, and half the liquor is half the cup. So start buying those. TBRU.
TBRU. All right, yeah, we got to put to the table and
At least I don't hate the sound of my voice. Okay.
Drinking the
It's
shots, having a
Cringemas.
couple shots, just talking to people, hanging out.
So do you swallow?
I just did.
Oh God, I was trying. This was me playing up my energy. Energy.
This costume part of it.
Music.
Are we supposed to be in costume?
So bad.
And it's TBRU.
This music is worse than anything I do on this show.
We're gonna go back and forth.
I'm gonna get so fucked up I won't know what to do with myself.
Hey, you know what? So we were sitting there and deciding where we were going to go eat.
This is the scene
Butch
that I've
and
been
mine, a
dreading.
place he said it's pretty popular and it's been around forever. And it's called Mama's Daughter's Cafe.
Butch is so handsome. I don't remember him being that handsome. He was a very handsome man.
We get there,
I've not seen him
we
in a
walk
long
on
time.
in.
Butch, if you're watching, hi.
hospitality. What's up, Junior?
Riveting. Riveting.
What do you think of Dallas?
It's hot.
It's hot.
Their locals are,
Locals are what?
Dallas is cool.
Yeah.
Actually,
I went to this house show. No, there used to be this house show
I
in
feel-
Rock called it Laser Pussy, and they
It gets better. It gets better. Now what's
and like this
I feel bad for myself.
this crowd of crust punks.
There was this crazy woman, which love her to death. She had
No,
these
this is
sunglasses on. They
actually
were
just
rhinestones, like around. It
boring.
was shiny.
Thank God for that.
I got the roast beef right
in the 70s.
My role in all of this was to get like signatures, right? So like anybody who spoke on camera, as the production assistant, this guy looked directly in the camera right there. As the production assistant, it was my job to get signatures from anybody who spoke on camera. So that was like my main function.
We're going to be checking in before we check out. I'm going to be married in Oprah over here.
I don't even know what Oakland means.
Gosh.
What is it?
I'm cringing. It's true.
It's the best show.
Okay, so this is now
You know things are gonna
me
get
at
crazy,
a
which they tend
something
to do under a
called-
full moon, and when you put us all in one room together.
oh, this music again. I remember that tank top. I got that at American Apparel. I was so embarrassed to be at this party with these cameras following me around. It was just so embarrassing. You know, I don't think that I'm ever going to humiliate myself for friends ever again after this. Hey, lesson learned. Merry Cringemas.
Just relax, kind of low-key type of bar. But you're looking through glass windows that are looking down on the dance floor.
Oh my God, my tag is up.
Crazy lights, synergy going everywhere. Everybody's dancing, having a good time, and you're in this kind of quaint
God,
place
his
where
posture's really
it's just
bad
nice
too.
to watch.
Makes me want to sit up.
So guys got their shirts off, enjoying themselves.
This is so
Nobody cares how
boring.
big-
Well, I'm gonna go dance. Like, you may not. I'm gonna fucking. I'm out of here.
Oh God, oh my
Like,
God,
"All
oh
right,
my
I'll
God. Sorry, I had to distract myself from the cringe pain, so I had to bite my forearm. For a minute.
Honestly, he's a good dancer. I'll give him that. Not every gay guy can dance.
I am a good
I wanna
dancer.
say that.
That was not good dancing. Let's not kid ourselves. I
There's a lot of
I
body
was
heat
not
around
feeling
here,
it. The
even when you're
camera.
just watching.
Mm-mm. Thankfully, I don't think that I'm in any more of this. So, we're done. That was not so bad. That was really not so bad. I remembered it being a lot worse than it actually ended up being. I highly recommend revisiting in any way that you can. Maybe you could write down the memory the way that you remember it and just kind of get it out on the page or something. Just an expression of these emotions, I feel. It was cathartic for me, and actually it wasn't so bad. So I think that this year, and maybe every year from here on out, I'm gonna bite my arm for Cringemas. Gonna bite it till it's bruised. I'll debase myself as I wish you well to get in the holiday mood. Gonna bite my arm for Cringemas and enjoy some humble pie. Can't think of any better way to spread joy and Yuletide. I'm gonna bite my arm for Cringemas because God, I've been a mess. Gonna don my bad decisions like a fancy evening dress. I'm gonna bite my arm for Cringemas, keep it together now, my boy. What better way to relish shame than to turn it into joy? Oh, baby, don't worry, it's not too heavy, cause the pain ain't so intense. We're gonna get together and take some pleasure at our own expense. C-R-I-N-G-E-M-A-S, C-R-I-N-G-E-M-A-S, C-R-I-N-G-E-M-A-S. I'm gonna bite my arm for Cringemas, pay no mind to Santa's list. Because the spirit of the season is turning blunders into bliss. It's turning blunders into bliss.